So as a kid growing up, we were told not to talk to strangers. And of course this makes sense because you're a kid and then you're more vulnerable and naive. But as an adult, I think a lot of us take this with us growing up, and the older we get, it's less and less often that we meet an abundance of new people in our lives. So I consider myself a pretty socially extroverted person. However, comparing my life to when I was in high school or college to now when I work and have like a 9-to-5 job, I don't meet half as many people in my life. I decided to take a nearly complete stranger with me to Tokyo, and we're going to spend 3 intense days together. This is the story of my creative journey, the struggle, the adventure, and following a gut feeling.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Captain. I do hope you had a pleasant flight to the 9. We have started descent towards Tokyo Narita.
So here I am in the capital of Japan with 9.3 million people, with a guy that looks like he's a close friend of mine, but the fact is I barely knew the guy. But for some particular reason, I thought it was a good idea to bring him with me to Tokyo, Japan, and spend 72 super intense hours together. That particular reason happened to actually be many reasons. But before we get into all that, we probably should backtrack a bit and then put this all into context. So first of all, you may be wondering, who the hell am I? So if you met me in real life or been following me on my Insta, you've probably seen bits and pieces of my real life. Or well, at least the highlights, because that's what social media is all about, right? Anyways, my name is Sylvia Hardy Raz. Yes, I had to mention all 3 names because literally my social circle uses all 3 of them. Just look at this super accurate pie chart that shows how my name is split up among my social circle. Why is that? Well, let's save that for another video. So, for simplicity's sake, my name is Silvio. Pretty much up until my 20s, the only creative outlet I really had was music. I've had my hands in dancing, DJing, and making music ever since I was a kid. But that last one, making music, was something for the last couple years I felt was pretty dry, and I felt really unfulfilled. Through my job, I got inspired to try out a new creative outlet, something more visual. Knowing that I've never been good at sketching or drawing, nor did I ever have that interest, that really never crossed my mind. But one thing I did decide to get into was photography. It made a lot of sense because as a kid, I was always taking a lot of photos. I guess I just loved capturing the moment. I was the one always taking photos on our family vacation with a point and shoot. I've had a few of those. But that's the thing, I had only ever used the point and shoot. Really, I knew nothing about photography besides the fact that, yeah, you do it to capture a moment, which is a very important fact. So a few years back, I bought an original Fujifilm X100 camera from my colleague for $50, and it was a hell of a deal. With that camera, I started my little photography journey, bringing that camera like everywhere. All the travel destinations, events, every possible scenario I could think of. Like I had the camera on me all the time. I quickly realized that I enjoyed street photography and portrait photography the most. There's something about capturing people in a specific moment and specific time that it's almost like you can freeze time. Being able to capture the personality, energy, and story in a fixed frame for that specific moment, to me, that just like, there's something special about it. For the first few years, and admittedly somewhat still today, I didn't really know what I was doing. And especially from a technical perspective. I was shooting on a fixed lens and automatic for like more than a year. And I was completely fine with that. I was way more concerned with capturing the people, the energy, the emotions, rather than trying to be super technical. So fast forward 2 years and many portraits from all over the world later. And yes, I did eventually learn to shoot manual, which I mostly do. I ended up getting really inspired to not only capture my travels and adventures and my day-to-day life in photo, but also video. This was all while I still had my love and passion for music, but the hunger wasn't really fed. It just kind of like rested in the back of my mind. I decided I need a specific project to challenge myself and to focus on these two skills. So subsequently, I had a personal business trip planned to Tokyo. It suddenly clicked to me that this could be a great opportunity for inspiration, photo-wise, video-wise, and music-wise. Then I thought to myself, what if I could bring someone with me to Tokyo who could not only help me film, since I had near to zero experience in filming, but also inspire me photography-wise. I didn't really expect someone to help me with the music part because I haven't met as many photographer videographers who are also musicians, but hell, that was going to be a bonus for me. That was going to be just me making music inspired on that trip. I thought about the different people I knew, and then I remember this one guy who DM'd me on Instagram, and we later bumped into each other at a hip-hop karaoke club, talked for a few minutes, and then moved on. His name was Adam, aka Flambeau.
Hey, I'm Flambeau. I'm an aesthetics junkie. This is my story of cinematography, photography, videography, and dearest of them all, musicianship. The series is called Aesthetics.
As a self-proclaimed introverted aesthetics junkie and former musician, videographer turned photographer, this guy was just oozing in creativity. The thing was though, I had only spoken to him for like not more than 5 minutes in my life in total. And it was at this club that was super loud and not really talking environment. And our last Insta conversation literally lasted only 5 minutes. Something told me that this was the perfect guy for the trip. Like, where else do you find someone who used to do music but now is into photography and makes these super killer videos? It was like sent from above. Like, this was the guy I was looking for. Despite not having a clue how this will turn out, I took a deep breath, and then I messaged this guy 8 months and 11 days after we first spoke on Insta. I said, yo, Adam, are you free between the 22nd and the 27th of November? Yes, man. Would you be interested in joining me to Tokyo for a long weekend to film, shoot, and maybe do some music together? I'll pay for your flight tickets. And then he replied, that sounds effing amazing, man. Count me in. And thanks for appreciating my work. I booked our flights and hotel day after, and just like that, we had 3 weeks to prepare for the trip. During this time, we met only once to discuss the details of this trip. And it was just mostly for me to reassure Adam that I wasn't trying to use him as a drug mule and smuggle stuff into the country. And just like that, I was supposed to go to the other side of the world with someone I barely knew, just because I was following a gut feeling. Stay tuned for part 2, where Adam and I explore Tokyo's nightlife and I gain a new appreciation for nighttime photography. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. And if you've had any similar experiences, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Peace!